snack at a food truck. Now, this allegedly happened at 2 a.m., but the big find for me was it was noted that Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin were not at the 1122 King Road property at this time of about 2 a.m. Now, I have identified in Brett Payne's PCA how, according to Bethany Funk, Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin returned to the King Road home at 1122 King Road from leaving the Sigma Chi party at 1:45 a.m. So there's a conflict there, there's a contradiction there. But I am focusing in on the fact that at the 2 a.m. time, it is noted that the other four housemates, Dylan, Bethany, Kaylee, and Maddie, were on the third floor in Kaylee's room talking, and they noted that Xana and Ethan were not there at 2 a.m., approximately 2 a.m. So I would say in the earlier part of January of this year, I had decided to look into more about the whereabouts of Xana and Ethan. So let me pull up a picture of them. They were boyfriend and girlfriend. Xana lived on King Road. Ethan did not. He would stay over. From looking into them, trying to gain the whereabouts, I could not, outside of the accounts from Dylan and Bethany, I couldn't find really any of their whereabouts. I know in the PCA, and I have it sitting here, it's shared on the Hidden Horror Facebook page if you want to review it for yourself and check it out. But it was said that they were at the Sigma Chi house from about 9 p.m. November 12th to 1:45 a.m. November 13th. It was estimated that Xana and Ethan returned to 1122 King Road about 1:45 a.m. Well, we know now that that may not be accurate because this is Bethany Funk's account. This information I'm telling you here from Brett Payne's PCA page 3, that is Bethany Funk's account. But now we hear through this court order from Judge Hippler that at 2 a.m., Xana is the only roommate and her boyfriend Ethan that are not at 1122 King Road at 2 a.m. This is problematic. This brings up a lot of red flags for me. This goes to what I have been struggling with, which is I haven't been able to find any accounts outside of these two surviving roommates, Dylan and Bethany, to account for any time that someone else can say as eyewitness or through pictures or video that Xana and Ethan were around, what they were doing, where they were, and that they were even alive at this time. The most that I know is it was brought up a long time ago that there was supposed to be a conversation that Xana had with her dad where she said she was eating pizza about 12:30 a.m., midnight, 12:30 a.m. with Ethan at home. At home meaning 1122 King Road. Now, you know, it's hard for me because I've seen a video of, I definitely know it was Xana and Ethan, but they were going into an apartment, a first floor apartment, about around midnight, 12:30 a.m. I don't know. I don't know the answers. I don't have the answers. I know that this creates a where were they? What were they doing? Who were they with? When did they arrive at 1122 King Road? Who brought them there? Who drove them there? How did they get there? What kind of car was it? Right? What were they doing all of these hours? We know now okay, that they weren't at home at 2 a.m., although we thought up to this point they were at home at 1:45 a.m. This creates a timeline problem, to be honest with you. Let me see if I can find another good picture of them. This creates a problem. This creates an issue relating to Xana and Ethan. We don't know where they were. We don't know what they were doing. Oh, trying to get just a basic picture. There we go. It's a nice picture of them. We don't know what they were doing. And we have questions. We have thoughts. We know now that they would have arrived at the 1122 King Row house after 2 a.m. Now, if the murders allegedly happened between 4 and 4:30 a.m., we're going to see some type of arrival for them after 2 a.m., but before, say, 4:30 a.m. We don't know. What's difficult is a lot of the PCA, a lot of the information, a lot of the factual foundational information is coming from the two surviving roommates. The problem is we keep running into issues, we keep running into problems, contradictions, sometimes just outright untruths, and it's a problem. I would like for law enforcement, if they had not, because they relied on these time of deaths from going off of the accounts of the surviving roommates. And I've always said, you can go back to some of my past videos, why aren't we using the victims' cell phones? And this is why I'm really here today. I want to talk about this a little bit more. So I'm going to share my screen. And I found this website where it's really a guide covering forensic science, different areas from blood work to eyewitness testimony to fingerprints, explosives, firearms, photography, DNA, everything. But my interest at this time is the digital evidence, right? So I want to click on this, and I'm only going to go over about 2 paragraphs. You can read it all. I've linked this on the Hidden Horror Facebook page. Check it out. But I'm only going to go over just a little bit because I know you already know this. But for people that may not know, okay, may not know, I want to share this information, okay? So just a couple of the paragraphs, okay? So digital devices are everywhere in today's world, helping people communicate locally and globally with ease. Most people immediately think of computers, cell phones, and the internet as the only source for digital evidence, but any piece of technology that processes information can be used in a criminal way. For example, handheld games can carry encoded messages between criminals, and even newer household appliances, such as a refrigerator with a built in TV, could be used to store, view, and share illegal images. The important thing to know is that responders need to be able to recognize and properly seize potential digital evidence, okay? Digital evidence is defined as information and data of value to an investigation that is stored on, received, or transmitted by an electronic device. This evidence can be acquired when electronic devices are seized and secured for examination. Digital evidence is latent, hidden, like fingerprints or DNA evidence, crosses jurisdictional borders quickly and easily, can be altered, damaged, or destroyed with little effort, can be time sensitive. There are many sources of digital evidence, but for the purposes of this publication, the topic is derived into 3 major forensic categories of devices where evidence can be found: internet-based, standalone computer or devices, mobile devices. These areas tend to have different evidence gathering processes, tools, and concerns, and different types of crimes tend to lend themselves to one device or the other. So, my main goal is to highlight, and I really want to go back to a picture of Xana and Ethan, because this video is really about them in particular, because I don't talk about them a lot. I don't go over a lot of things involving them. And it's not a slight or anything. It's just I don't have a lot of information. Unfortunately, with this case, some of the other parents have been more in the forefront, more vocal, and I would refer to that um, as being a little bit more, um, in the media, in the news, making statements, et cetera, et cetera. So, I don't forget about Xana and Ethan, but I don't have as much information, as much details. And I want to know, and I'm hoping that at some point, some information can come out about their whereabouts by using their devices. My goal, my hope is that the downloads from Zane and Ethan's cell phones will help demonstrate their movements. It will help show who they were communicating with. It will help tell us where were they. It may even tell us what they were doing. Maybe there's some pictures or video. Um, I'm hoping that they'll be able to track their movements. Maybe they went to ATM, maybe they purchased food, maybe they were using something that would be able to be recorded, going to a gas station, something. Maybe we can get some pictures, some videos to see who, if anybody, they were with, possibly. What did they do after the Sigma Chi party? When did they leave the Sigma Chi party? What happened at the Sigma Chi party? It's been rumored, and I don't know if this is true or not. So, um, take it for what it is. But it was rumored that there was a fight, that Ethan Chapin was in a fight at the Sigma Chi party that evening. And what happened after that? What was the result of that? Was there any injuries to him, his physical body from the fight? Did something happen after the fight? Was there any retribution there? Where did the fight end up? Was anyone hurt? Um, I just have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about these two in particular. And I'm hoping that the cell phone activity, the cell phone data, will be able to provide answers, information, details. Um, with contradictory information, with estimates, we can't really rely on that. We need more specific information. And for the most part, younger people, and of course, these victims, they were online, they were using social media, they were posting, they all were having parties, so they have a lot of friends, and maybe people took pictures with them. Maybe they can recall some of the things that happened that evening into the early morning hours. Maybe someone saw them. Maybe the people that they got out the car with are going to come forward from that video and let us know, where were they going? Where were they at? What were they doing? When did they leave that apartment? And when did they go home? When did they head home? Do we have any video of them arriving at 1122 King Road? If so, what time was that? Did anybody see that? Was Ethan injured? It is said that Xana tried to get him to, leave the party due to whatever happened, altercation, whatever. So, we need more details about that. We need witnesses to come forward to provide that information and to help build that timeline. Where did they go after the party? If they weren't at home, if they did leave the Sigma Chi party at 1:45 a.m. and they were not at home, because this is walking distance. We've seen in videos of the band field that these fraternities, they were in walking distance of the 1122 King Row house. You would be able to arrive if you just walked in a matter of minutes. So where did Zane and Ethan go after the party? If they're not at home by 2 a.m., that's about 15 minutes. And I'm saying at 1122 King Road when I say home, where did they go? Is there any record? Is there any banking activity, any banking transactions, any, um, Uber driving fees, or was there any Zelle or anything going on, any activity on any of their accounts? Is there any video of them where they went after they left the party, allegedly at 1:45 a.m.? What were they doing? Would their cell phones reveal it, show it, demonstrate it, be able to track it if they did the download from the tower? And if they hopefully got the records, the cell phone data records of both victims, what would those records reveal? What would they show? Where did they go? And is there anything in pictures or video? Okay. So that's my interest. That's my focus. That's my concern at this point. I'm very concerned about Xana Kernodle Ethan Chapin. And I want to know the where, how, who, what, when. I want to know it all. And we just don't have those details. But hopefully, all of this is going to come out either in more courtroom testimony, statements, motions, orders, or we would just have to wait. If there is a trial, we would have to wait for the trial. But I really feel like, all of these victims, they really deserve justice in this case. Their families need answers, they need details. Um, it's just a very unfortunate situation, and my prayers, my thoughts go out to all the victims' families, and in particular, especially Ethan Chapin's parents and siblings. I just know that they have just been devastated, devastated. Um, and I'm just sorry for their loss. I'm sorry for the loss of all of these four bright people. Um, they really, really suffered, and they didn't deserve what happened to them. Nothing's going to change my mind. So um, I just want to state that on the record, okay? So thank you for spending this time with me. I really, really appreciate it. I want you to stay smart, stay safe, stay savvy, be well, all my friends. Bye, everybody.